Welcome to the Catholic Women Podcast. I was about to relaunch a few episodes I have recorded a couple weeks ago, and I just feel like before I push those out into the world, I need to hit pause, and I just want to kind of talk about current events that have happened that have kind of shaken the whole world. But before I dive in, you'll hear it on the other episodes because I recorded them as if they're the relaunch episodes, but we are now on YouTube. Woohoo! So if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Please hit the subscribe button. I have literally never launched YouTube before. I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm being honest, but I'm super excited. I know a lot of people, like my mom, for example. I love you, Mom. She really only watches podcasts on YouTube. So I wanted to launch this in another format to help people who, would love to hear the show, would benefit from the show, but don't necessarily listen to podcasts. They prefer to watch YouTube. So hello, if that's you. I'm so glad you found us. And if you're listening on audio, I would also appreciate if you just go pop over to YouTube channel. It's at the Catholic Women Podcast on YouTube. And just give us a subscribe to just kind of help boost the channel, get it out there a little bit so that more people can find it. Super helpful. So thank you so much. And I am so excited for this new adventure on YouTube. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I hope the video gets better as the episodes go on and I kind of figure it out a little bit. But I'm excited to be here. And also, I don't know if you can tell if you've listened to previous episodes and listening to this one, but I also majorly upgraded our equipment. So I have a much better microphone now. I am so happy about that because I don't know, a little bit about me. I got my degree in choral music. So I have a very picky ear for how things sound, and the quality of the other podcasts was just bothering me so much. So I'm still figuring out how to fine tune all the settings on it. So you'll still be hearing sound adjustments if your ear picks up on those things. I know mine does. But as I figure it out, as I kind of make minor adjustments and tweak it, the audio quality is just getting better and better. And I did a ton of research. This is the mic that all the big podcasters use for all of their things. The radio hosts use this is it. So I am so excited. It was a big investment on my part, but I just really, really value this show. I value it for you guys, and I think it was worth it because, I don't know, the other audio quality was driving me crazy. So excited for that too. Okay, so if you are listening to this in the future, just kind of want to recap the events of the past few weeks and process them a little bit. So within the past week, there was a school shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota that targeted a Catholic school. The kids were at Mass, and the shooter shot them at Mass. There was also a stabbing on a Charlotte, I want to say, subway of an immigrant, and that was just horribly graphic. And then a few days later, there was the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who is a political and Christian speaker who goes to college campuses and just engages in dialogue with people. So it has been a heavy week. Oh, and then also the day after that was 9/11. So it's just been a heavy past couple of weeks. And I feel like we just need to process this together. I've seen a lot of different takes online of everything that's happening, a lot of different viewpoints. And particularly, people are speaking out more so about what happened to Charlie. And, one side is very sad, rightfully so, about what happened and is speaking out about it. And I feel like there's another side who is, well, maybe there's three sides. Another side who thinks that violence is wrong, but is upset that the people who are speaking out about Charlie have not been speaking out about all these other things that have happened. And then I feel like there's a third camp of people who are he deserved it, good riddance. And my goodness, let's just start with that camp. That is a horrible, and I'm just going to call it out, a horrible stance to take. I don't care what you believe. Someone I can disagree with vehemently, I would never, ever wish evil things upon them. I just can't process that. And if you're listening to this, this is the Catholic Woman Podcast. So understand we're coming at this from a Catholic worldview and a biblical perspective. So that's where we're coming at this, okay? So if you're listening to this, I feel like if you clicked on it, it's Catholic Women Podcast, but just gonna preface with that. We are never supposed to wish evil upon anyone, whether they're people we love or people we hate. I can't even fathom the hatred that someone would have to like say like he deserved that. Nobody, no matter how evil you are, deserves death. Like none of us do. None of us do. And so like I just feel like that is so clearly the devil in their mind, because truly, how could you wish death on someone if you truly have Jesus in your heart? You just can't. So we need to pray for those people that we see, and I do think we need to call it out. Like I think we need to be, in their comments of their videos or whatever, having these conversations with our friends, saying like, even if you hate someone, we shouldn't be wishing death or evil things on them. That's just not human. Like that's just, where is your humanity? I don't understand that. I just genuinely don't understand that. And I, trying to sympathize with them, but I just can't. I just, being honest, I can't. And so we just need to pray for them. We just need to pray for that group of people. And if that's you're listening and you strongly disagree with what I'm saying, you think that people who are evil deserve evil, then I would just encourage you to turn to your Bible and to dig into scripture and see what that says about our enemies. So do that. Okay, then to address the camp of people who are speaking out about Charlie. I tend to absolutely agree with this. I think it is horrific what happened, and he is, he was, no matter what you think about him, he was someone who wanted to talk to you. Like, he didn't throw punches. He literally just sat down and would ask you questions and would try to understand where you're coming from and probe you to kind of get to the root of your thinking, to get to the truth. Isn't that what we all should be wanting, is truth? Like, don't we want the truth? And to get to the truth, we have to keep asking questions to get to the bottom of things. And that's what he did. And, whether or not you liked what he said and you agreed with his stances on marriage or LGBTQ rights, like whether or not you agreed with what he was getting to, all he did was sit down and have a conversation with you. He never yelled. He never called names. He just wanted to have conversations. And he was also very vocal about his Christian faith. And he was killed for that. And it's just, it's horrible that this happens in America today. It shouldn't happen. And people are rightfully so speaking out about it. So then there's this other camp of people I see who are upset. My guess is most of them didn't like Charlie, okay? And that's okay. You don't have to like him. I'm not like, you gotta like Charlie Kirk. I don't care. Like, I don't care. But they're upset because the people who are speaking out about his death never spoke out about any of these other tragedies. And I agree with that. I do understand your perspective. I do think it's sad that these things happen all the time. Like, there are school shootings almost weekly. I mean, there are other politicians who are killed. There's horrible, horrible things that happen. And I agree that people need to speak out against that more. We need to be louder. We need to speak out against this and have dialogue about why these things are happening. We might not agree on the why, but we need to get to the root of it together. Again, like, don't you want to discover the truth? And to find the truth, we have to just talk to each other. We have to ask questions. We have to listen and understand and, battle it out with ideas to figure out the real truth. So I agree with you. If that's where you are, I agree that people, especially influencers who are kind of speaking about this and have never really touched any other tragedies in the past, that's horrible. Like, they should be touching those tragedies that have happened too. However, I also think that there is a balance between speaking about every tragedy and living life. Like, your social media is curated. It's not a, this is my whole life, this is all life, feed. It is curated. Everybody listening to this who has a social media account, your feed is curated. You chose exactly what to post on your social media pages. It is curated. We do not post literally every single thing. And I think there is some wisdom in not sharing about every single tragedy ever, because then your feed would just become like fear porn. Like, there's really no other way to describe it, because so many bad things happen in the world every single day. And we are one of the first generations to have access to so much information. The first like big change was when the printing press happened and people could easily get their hands on printed materials. That was a big information boom. And now with technology the way it is, we have news in seconds. Like, we were able to hear about the shootings within minutes of them happening because our phones were blowing up and the things just spread. Whereas a generation or two ago, you would have heard about it that night on your news. Or a generation before that, you would have heard about it the next day in the newspaper or something like that. So we just have information overload. And the other thing with the internet too, unlike the news and newspaper, which are limited in the amount of time that they have for segments, the amount of space that they have for printing stories, the internet doesn't have a space limit. So we can see literally everything, and anything can be shoved into the internet. And I think that's good. I think we need freedom of speech. And I think that is, one of the benefits and one of the downfalls of the internet. I think it can be both, is that we can see everything, which is good. We have access to so much more, but it's also overwhelming. Our human brains were not meant for this much information overload. Like, we just were not meant for this much information. So I guess, like, tangent aside, I understand the point of this third camp where it's like people should have posted before, but also understand there's a balance between posting about every single tragedy ever and, having a happy feed. We don't want to be fear-mongering and, like, scaring people either, because our brains weren't meant for that either. So that's just kind of like my take on the different sides I've seen. One other thing that's kind of been disheartening to me, if I'm being honest, is how quickly people will share stories that aren't true because they want them to be true. So, for example, there's two stories in particular that I saw being shared by a lot of influencers, especially in the Catholic circle. The first was a picture of Erica, who is Charlie's widow now, greeting crowds as they were escorting the body back to their home area in Arizona. And she rolled down her window and was holding his necklace out the window as she drove past a crowd of supporters. And his necklace it's a cross, and it's like a chain, but it looks like a beaded chain. It's not beads, but it looks beaded the way the chain is. And she was holding out the window, and photos are blurry. And so news outlets and influencers immediately picked it up and were like, Erica holds rosary out window as she greets, or as she passes supporters or something like that. And it isn't true. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, it's a bad thing that she'd be holding rosary. No, it's a good thing. And I believe that she was Catholic. It sounds like from people who were close to him, he was kind of coming into the Catholic Church. So I'm not doubting that she might have a rosary and might be praying it. And I'm not doubting a lot of the point of those posts where we need to pray too. Again, agree with that. I think we all need to be praying. But I think I'm disappointed that people are so quick to share something that was very quickly and easily debunked, and they didn't do the research on it. People were resharing this after it was clear that it was not a rosary, it was his necklace. And I had a couple widows reach out to me too, because I had posted, I was like, let's just slow down with the sharing of information. I think it's good to share information, but these stories kind of they're meant to tug on your emotional heartstrings. When it does that, slow down. If it's not just a facts-forward story, slow down, because there's probably something in the story. So I had a couple widows reach out to me and were like, I know it seems menial, but as a widow, it means a lot that people are getting small details like this correct. This is the necklace he wore every single day, and she will probably hang on to that, wear it, keep it with her everywhere forever now. And to get that detail, because it's so, I don't know, emotional and deep. I'm struggling for the right word here, but it is so intimate. To get that detail right is important. according to the widows that were in my DMs so graciously. And I agree with that. Like, so there's things like that people are just so quick to share, which is maybe disappointing. Another story that people were so quick to share, I saw a lot of Catholic influencers sharing, it was a post that someone had said, like, it was about his daughter, and it was like, she tried to run to him because she was scared of the noise. And like in all caps, she tried to run to him because she was scared of the noise. Well, his family wasn't there. They were at their home in Arizona. And again, meant to tug at the heartstrings. So it's just people griping off of tragedy, which is, they say never waste a tragedy, which really hurts me to see that people are doing this. They're doing it to get their account bumped and boosted and their posts shared. I just think that's horrible. So all that to say, I think it's good that we can share stuff online so freely. I think we need to, not have censorship laws and things like that. But, use prudence, use wisdom. And when you share something wrong, here's the other thing is people were just kind of like deleting it. And that bothers me because if you make a mistake, like, especially if you are someone with influence online, admit to that mistake. I have done this so many times, you guys. I am not perfect. I will share things that are wrong. And when I learn they are wrong, usually by someone DMing me or a few people DMing me like, hey, this isn't right. Thank you for telling me, like, thank you for holding me accountable. I am sorry. Like, I'll post like, oops, this was incorrect. I'm sorry about that. That's what you need to do. Like, you need to just hold yourself to a higher standard of accountability for truth. And, if you want people to trust you and to, want to follow you, it's not cool to quietly delete things when you were wrong. It is better to say, like, I was wrong. I am sorry. You are going to build so much more trust with people that way to admit your mistakes, because we all make mistakes, than to just quietly delete them or try to be like, oh, I was just wondering. Well, you didn't say that. You kind of presented it as if it was a fact. And so I just, like, all this aside, rant aside, I'm sorry for ranting. I just feel like we needed to process this together. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. I would love to hear it. DM me on Instagram if you're listening, what your thoughts are. I'm at the Catholic Woman Podcast, so DM me your thoughts on all of this because I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. But yeah, I just think, like, as a society, but especially as Catholics, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard of truth because Jesus is truth. Like, he is the truth. And if we as Catholics can't be honest about what's truthful online, and when we make a mistake, we quietly hide that or kind of make excuses for that, how are people who are not Christian to believe us that Jesus is the truth when we make mistakes about other truth and we don't correct them? Like, that just, as someone who's not Christian, if I were to see that, I'd be like, well, I can't trust them. Like, why would I trust them about what they're saying about God when they can't even correct something as simple as, saying they were wrong about what Erica was holding, or, saying they were wrong because they shared this post that his daughter was there when she actually wasn't there. And it's just, it makes me think. So all that to say, I would like to call you to higher accountability online, with myself too. I need to be even better about this, but watch what you share. Again, share things. I think it's important that we get information out there. We need to have free speech. We need to be questioning things. I am a ask all of the questions type person because I believe that's how we get to the root of the truth, is to ask questions, ask deep, serious questions. So yeah, put things out there, ask questions, be questioning what we're told, all of that. I think that's totally fine. But don't state things as facts if you're not sure that they're facts. And when you're wrong, have learned you're wrong, admit that you're wrong. Like, it's just really that simple. Hold ourselves accountable and be a good witness to truth so that when other people see us, they know that we're truthful, they can trust us, and then they can follow your witness to the truth, Jesus. So that is kind of me processing what has happened. I think we just at the root of it, pray and fast. I think if you can do nothing else, you can log off of social media, because I have done that because it's just a time suck and just a feed scroll. It is a lot these past few days. So log off of social media, pray and fast, and make a difference where you can make a difference. For most of us, that is going to just be in our family circles, in our families and in our friends, in our close circle. But if we all can make an impact in our close circle, we will change so much of the culture around us. So that is my call to you today. Hold yourself accountable, be truthful, be a good witness to the truth, and make an impact where you can make an impact. All right, well, I hope to have the next few episodes up soon because I already have them recorded, but I wanted to post this one first as a jumping back in point because, I don't know, I thought we needed to address everything. So thank you for being here. Again, if you aren't on YouTube, if you're not following me on YouTube, please go ahead to YouTube, subscribe to the Catholic Woman Podcast on YouTube, leave a review. I love reading them all. Even if you don't like the show, it's okay. Maybe don't leave a review then, but DM me your thoughts. Whatever. It is okay. We get negative reviews, and I'll be honest. One of them, I do read them all. One of them was like, she says and like too much, and it's true. I do. I know this is like I just did it. I know this is my downfall. I am not the most professional speaker. It's something I do need to get better at. So, gonna try to hold myself accountable to saying less ums and likes and thinking through what I'm saying a little bit more before I say it, because a lot of times I just say what is on my mind at that second. So I need to be better about thinking in advance a little bit more, and I will work on it. That was a negative review I got, and I promise you I will work on it. I read them. But if you do like this show, I really would appreciate if you go subscribe if you're not subscribed, leave a review, let me know what you like. Go comment on our Instagram posts, DM me on Instagram at the Catholic Woman Podcast. And we also have a Facebook group. I have forgotten about this and I would like to revive it. So let's revive that Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, join us in the Catholic Woman Podcast Facebook group. I will leave that in the show notes and description as well, so that you can just come, find a community of like-minded Catholic women who are just trying to navigate the modern world through a Catholic perspective. So excited to see you in that group. Thank you for being here. I am so excited for this relaunch, and I will see you again soon.